Hey, what's good, y'all? It's BerkBerk on Twitch, aka JustBurn420 on MTGO. My bad. I know I haven't posted in a long ass time. I took a few months off gaming in general, just for the sake of my mental health, but my bad. But I'm back. I'm back. Shout out to Bamzing for encouraging me to revive my dead YouTube channel. So thank you, Bamzing, for getting me off my lazy ass. Alright, so first off, I came back last week and jumped into the prelims with my Slivers list, making some slight modifications because I haven't played in a while, and I added a couple Realm Walker to the list, which seems really obvious for like any tribal deck, but yeah, I think two seems about good. Two, sometimes Realm Walker is mediocre to even bad, but other times Realm Walker is amazing. And I think this deck has a high enough creature density where the payout is worth it for a couple of them. All right, so let's see. First, just to show you the deck is not a meme deck, as one of my opponents put it. Even though that opponent beat me, so I can't really say much. I really wanted to prove him wrong, but yeah. So let's see. There was a 4-0 followed by a 3-1 in some prelims last week. And then I went 5-2 to finish 10th in the challenge on Sunday. And after I posted that, so Bishark took the deck and switched out this one Grafdigger's Cage in the sideboard for a Siphon Sliver, and which is a reasonable modification, and went 5-0. And just today, I saw on the Sliver Facebook, shout out to Noah Burns, also going 5-0 with the same 75. So the deck's not bad. All right, it's not a meme deck. And going back to that Grafdigger's Cage, yeah, that is the flex slot. I know one of the common questions I always get, like every time I post something on Reddit about, all right, here's my newest version of Slivers. Here's the sideboard guide, all that stuff. Someone's always like, hey, what are the flex spots? All right, Grafdigger's Cage. If you're worried about burn or prowess, you can throw in a dark heart sliver. Uh, I know my boy Southern Sliver actually mainboards a couple of dark cards. But yeah, those are like the silver bullets for burn and prowess, more for burn than prowess, to be honest. Um, there's a lot of Tron, you know, damp them up. Just that's the flex slot. I'm honestly turning back to a fourth frenzy sliver, or no, frenetic sliver in that slot now, or I'm testing out a fourth frenetic sliver in that slot now because there's so much blue white control. But anyway, that's the flex slot. But anyway, you know what? I'm just gonna shut up and we're gonna get to game one. Game one was against five color Stoneblade. So let's see here. Game one. Wait, is this even recording? All right, cool. Let's make it. I wasn't sure I hit start record. That would have been really bad. So we're gonna hit play, and okay. So game one, turn one, is the only time I'll start with the basic planes, Vial, over any of the five color lands, because with any of the five color lands, you reveal your playing Slivers. Um, but it's also the smarter play. But if you're going Vile and it's game one, turn one, and you have the basic planes in hand, go with the basic planes. Because if they see basic planes Vile, they're not gonna think Slivers. They're gonna think you're on taxes. And even if they play that one turn just slightly differently, that's a free edge you get there. But any other time, like game two or three, or if you start with the sliver, start with the five color land over the basic, so that they know, or so that they don't know you have your basic in hand, and that if they try to path you or something, that's you know some free card advantage for them. So yeah, going back to this, flying is great against Goyfs. I don't really know what else to say here. But as you can see, I don't have lethal, so I don't want to swing over yet and let the Goyfs kill me. You know, if they're at 4 or 5, and there's 2 of them, and I'm at 10, then you know, it's not that hard for them to make them 5/6s, right? But yeah, I do have a first striker, and this is one of those situations where striking Sliver is great because it allows you to hold off bigger things when all your guys have first strike. And then you can just hold them off until you're ready to swing over them. Or in this case, you know, because I have Frenetic Sliver, I can also block and flicker if I want. Although over here I didn't have to. Here I was able to just do math and win that way. But yeah, Frenetic Sliver also allows flickering to chump block. So I gotta talk faster. I ramble too much. Alright, so that was... Let me just move this over here. That was round 1, game 1. Here is... No, it's this one, sorry. Here is... Let's see. Wait, where the... Oh, here we go. Round 1, game 2. So double Unsettled Mariner is pretty fun against some decks. Also, a side note, a lot of people don't know how to play against Mariner properly. And I don't think that's something that, you know, we as players should really depend on, because at the highest levels, that's not going to be the case, and that's not something, you know, we shouldn't strive to win based off opponents' mistakes, but just know that every once in a while, Unsettled Mariner will get some bonus counters in just because people misread his text. So yeah, I see a Dismember there. And I should also note that Realm Walker gets a little weaker when you side cards in. So if you side in too many sideboard cards, sometimes it becomes appropriate to side out at least one of the Realm Walkers. But you don't have to. I'm just... Sorry, that's really confusing. Sideboarding is not an exact art. Sometimes you just kind of go with the flow. I should shut up before I make myself lose credibility by sounding stupid. Oh, so here. This is one of those situations where they didn't realize that K-Command targets twice. So that by targeting twice, they'd have to pay 2 per Mariner. Either that or they didn't realize they stacked. So by targeting twice with 2 Mariners out, they had to pay 4. So yeah, free me there. Alright. And let's see. Now we trade there, they're at 1, and that should be game. Right? Yeah, I think that's game. Okay. So that was round 1. Round 2. I should move this over here. Round 2 is red-green mid-range. Oh yeah, play. So red-green mid-range is actually a tougher matchup for us because Blood Moon effects are really, really bad. Unless we get a Vial or something, but there's ways around it. And yeah, mid-range in general tends to be the nemesis of aggro. I think that's, you know, that's just how it's been traditionally. But it's not unwinnable. The thing about Slivers is we don't have any slam dunk matchups, you know. Like, other than Slivers, I'll play things like Burn or like Belcher and Legacy. And those have like slam dunk matchups where you sit down, you see what they're playing, and you just relax and smile like, I got this. Slivers ain't got that. But at the same time, you don't have any auto losses either. You know, the other decks also have decks where you sit down and you're like, oh, fuck, alright, let's get this over with so I can get some food. With Slivers, I feel like you can win or lose against every deck. Or any deck, I should say. You're not playing them all at once. So, while I was giving that little speech, I totally wasn't paying attention to what happened here, but it looks like oh yeah, so it looks like I used up a bunch of lords, built up a wall, and then flew over them, which is what we end up doing sometimes. I'm so bad at commentating my own games. Alright. Game 2. So yeah, it's game 2, and we're starting with a sliver, so we're starting with the 5-color land over the plains. I don't really need to explain that, y'all know that shit. Alright, so here we're going for Mariner before the Lord or the Cloud Shredder. I mean, if they kill it, at least we slow them down. If they don't kill it, you know, we can drop a Lord next turn and swing for 3, which would be 1 more than we'd swing if we did it the other way around. Now the Cloud Shredder though could have went 1 and 1, but either way, I think not in all situations, but in many situations, Mariner first is the right call in terms of sequencing. I think one of the main times when that isn't the case is when you have like a bunch of lords in your hand, and it's like, all right, we're just gonna go lord, and like get wacky. But with a hand like this, in a matchup like this, I think Mariner first was the call there. So yeah. Oh look, we win. Wait, was that? That was game 2, right? Yeah, that was game 2. Cause, right. So round 3. Blue-white control is not a favorable matchup. It's not unwinnable, but in my opinion, it's not the best matchup. Partly because they have rats, and in this matchup, not only did everything go wrong for me, but everything went right for my opponent. And on top of that, I made at least 3 really glaring mistakes. Not like judgment calls where I should have taken this line over this line in retrospect, but like really obvious, blatant, this is the right call, this is the wrong call, and I took the wrong one. Or I made the wrong one. And I basically just went on tilt. And because of that, one, because it was such a lopsided curb stomping, and 2, because I made so many mistakes that I would not want anyone to replicate. I don't think there's anything educational to be gleaned from watching me get stomped round 3. So I'm just gonna tell you, I got stomped. All right, like I got thrashed. It was horrible. Let's just move on to round 4. Round 3 never happened. Wipe from my memory for the sake of my sanity. Round 4, red-white prison. Oh yeah, so I should note that this is red-white prison because what the hell? But I mean they had a winning record to meet me in this round, so like it must be doing something right. I did not expect it, but I guess with the right matchups, yeah, prison can catch a lot of people off guard. That's interesting, and I I give this person major props for going with this deck just to test it out. But Prism didn't really seem to be a problem here. Yeah, so I know there's a lot of cards that make a search for basics, and I know I only play one, but I feel like it's a risk reward thing because I also don't want to like lose to mana problems either, like early in the game, right? So I think one is fine for now, but I do admit that yeah, it can be annoying against certain matchups when they just start strip mining everything you have. But it's not annoying enough where I've needed to add a second basic land yet, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's a lot of cards here where it's like, huh, I haven't seen that in a while. I haven't seen that in a while. Yeah. That one basic. Because it's like you gotta weigh how many times is that lack of a second basic gonna hurt you compared to how many times is having the wrong mana gonna hurt you. Because like even if you lose some land advantage, by the time they get to that second strip mine or whatever, it'll be late enough in the game where you would have already emptied out some of your hand, right? And you already have some other lands. In theory, not always the case, but in theory. So I love being able to violin frenetic just whenever, although I don't think it was an issue here. But just having the option to like respond to removal or whatever. You know, don't be in a hurry to rush it out all the time if you have the vial. Also, Form of the Dragon. That is a card I have not seen in a long time. Also one of the coolest cards ever flavor wise. But yeah, that was the match against Prison. So, round 5. 5-color scape shift. So 5-color scape shift. It's like it's basically scape shift with like bring the light and all the other goodness that comes with being able to go 5 colors. But bring the light seems to be the thing that makes the 5-color variant possible. Like I could be wrong because I don't know the deck well, so someone correct me if I'm wrong. But it's like bring the light scape shift. I think that's a more appropriate name. I don't know. That's kind of long though. But yeah, 5-color scape shift. So like in a lot of matchups, flying really helps. Like I saw someone ask recently why we run 4 Cloud Shredder Sliver, even though the effect isn't cumulative, which is a good question in general, because I know back in the day people used to run mid-range slivers where the point was to, you know, have keyword soup and just get as many as possible, you know, collect them all with the keywords. But wait, let's see, round 5 game 2 now. But now this is aggro and flying is huge. You know, we have a bunch of lords, 12 if you count the leeching, even though they're not true lords. And you just want them to fly. And if they have haste, even better. Cloud Shredder is just so good. Like, Cloud Shredder was what inspired this deck. When I saw Modern Horizons, and I saw Cloud Shredder Sliver, like my eyes opened up wide. Before that, I was a Burn player. That's why I'm just Burn 420. Before that, I was a Burn player. But I saw Cloud Shredder Sliver, like, oh shit, there's some possibilities here. And threw together the early version of this deck. Cloud Shredder Sliver is the foundation of this deck. So yeah, not much to say about this matchup other than I seem to be trying to race them here with Frenetic Sliver to protect from anything like an Anger or whatever other removal. If it's a 5-color Escape Shift, they have all sorts of weird removal whose names I don't even remember. I just know that they'll wipe my creatures if I can't flicker them. But alright, so that was game. That was kind of anticlimactic. I think I ended up having time to take a long nap after this, which is good because I was really like half asleep up until then. This was like a 4 a.m. challenge. Like up until then I was a zombie. But alright, so round 6. Like, I would totally stream these challenges if they started later, but in the morning, I'm a total zombie. At 4 a.m., I'm, like, barely awake. But, okay, so what's going on here? Oh! This looks like Prowess. I forgot to check what that... Yeah, okay, so this was Red-White Prowess. So instead of blue, they go with white because they get that one enchantment that it's like a prowess enchantment, but it keeps the counters or whatever. That thing, the myth realized. That's basically the main argument for going red-white instead of red-blue. I think red-blue is still the default version, but I mean, there's always validity to these variants. So, Prowess in general is not a good matchup for us. Like, Burn is even. If anything, we have a slight advantage against Burn. But it's pretty even. Prowess, though, it is definitely not something we want to see. But we still have ways to win. You know, we basically, well, one, we could lock him out with Untitled Mariner. 2, we can lock him out with Chalice. Or not lock him out completely, but like, when I say lock him out, I mean like soft lock. We can soft lock him with Mariner. We can soft lock him with Chalice. And in that process, while slowing him down, we can do our thing. Flying is pretty helpful against Prowess because they usually have blockers. And we can't even bring in our removal because our removal costs 4 life, and you do not want to pay 4 life to remove anything against burn spells. Like, it's more tempting against Prowess than against Burn, but it's still not worth it. You know, you bring in something like Dismember. Did I say Dismember earlier? Did I call it something else? Anyway, I'm tripping. Yeah, so yeah, we can't even bring in our Dismembers because they cost 4 life. And, if you dismember their guy, they're just smiling. Oh, right, I gotta hit play. But yeah, Chalice is great against Prowess. More so against Prowess than Burn. Because, you know, Burn, they got more 2 casting cards than 1, really. But yeah, I think I'm going for a turn 2 Chalice here. Shut him down quickly. Now, even though you get a Chalice out, note that countered spells still trigger Prowess. Like, it still helps counter all their shit, but note they still get the triggers. And this thing's already at 4. Alright, so we got Chalice for 1. Now we just gotta get some Slivers on the board. Now, Realm Walker this early would be kind of risky, and it basically Bane for burn. Oh, but we got the Chalice to protect it, so that was a good top deck to round out the curve. And now we just drop everything. And alright, so because we got the Chalice for 1 out, now they're gonna try to use the Luris and recur the Bobblebiff to fish for more to get things they can get, and also keep growing that Myth Realized to try to swing. Whereas Frenetic Sliver is the perfect chump blocker because it allows all the slivers to just chump block. Well, basically chump block indefinitely as long as we got a lucky coin. But you know, like 50% odds, it's a calculated risk. Chump, flicker. Nope. All good. Next sliver. Also note that we got a Frenetic Sliver out and a Dregscape Sliver in the graveyard. That's the combo. Think about it. That's the combo. So now I mentioned this in previous videos, but when you have Dregscape and Frenetic, you can recur things, flip them, and then win the flip, and then you keep the sliver for good, and you basically get like I don't want to say infinitely recurring slivers because eventually your luck will run out, but you get a ton of card advantage just off the combo, especially when you're lucky. Now again, it doesn't always work, but you know, in the game of Magic, you play to your outs, right? In a matchup like this, where you know the odds are against us, we play to our outs. And with this deck, it just so happens that a lot of the time those outs involve a lot of coin flipping. But yeah, it worked. And finally, round 7, where it all fell apart and the top 8 dream died. But you know, there's still plenty to be gleaned from a loss, as long as you don't make a bunch of mistakes during that loss. I mean, okay, so don't get me wrong. I can learn from, as in, like, don't make those mistakes. But I just, anyway, we're not gonna go there. Just for the sake of my sanity, just work with it. No, I'll stream the deck some more, and you guys can watch me go up against other blue-white control decks. My Twitch again is BerkBerk, BERK. So yeah, Anamorphose. At this point, I'm like, okay, is the 4th one coming now? Like at this point, at a certain point when you know you're doomed, you just want to sit back and enjoy the show. Like, wow, that was impressive. And this right here, this is pretty impressive. Exacxes on turn 3. Triple Manamorphose, double mutagenic growth. Like, you don't see anything but a Sprite Dragon on turn 2. You don't expect to get killed on turn 3, but hey, what can you do, right? Alright, game 2 though. Game 2, I got pretty lucky myself. I try to click yes to go first. That's not what I'm doing. So yeah, double Chalice. We only really needed one, but alright. Going first, Chalice for 1. And Chalice is one of those cards that's so much better going first than going second. But I mean, we want him against this deck either way. Like, when we're up against mono green Tron, we want Chalice on the play, but not on the draw. Same as if we're going up against Jund, or most builds of Jund. They vary, but the types of Jund builds with a lot of 1 casting cost spells, yeah, you want Chalice on the play, but not the draw. And yeah, I realize they're probably gonna to make you discard it, but even then, it's like discard bait. That's fine. But let's see. And even against Jund, it's kind of questionable because if they have things like K commands, then you don't bring in the chalices. It's sort of a feel the waters thing, and sometimes we bring them in just based on guessing, to be honest. anyway, my point is against this deck, you want chalices on the play and on the draw. So basically, I'm using the frenetic coin flip and run defense, and it's working really well this game. There will be other games when the opposite happens and then they all just die, but this was not one of those games. Also note that with Cavern of Souls, you can cast things through chalices. So as long as you got the cavern, don't be afraid to block yourself out, because you can fight through. Just make sure you use the cavern. I've forgotten before. Like I'll see the cavern and I'll see the chalice. I'm like, oh cool, I can play it now, and not worry. And then I'll tap the wrong lands because I'm an idiot. So don't be like me. Wait, what happened? Did it just freeze? What? Am I supposed to put my triggers in the stack? Wait. What did freeze? Oh, we're chatting here? Alright, I don't know why this replay ain't working. But okay. Oh, there we go. I guess that's where the game ended. And then game 3. Oh, right, I'm supposed to commentate. I got distracted by something, my bad. I'm hungry. Alright, so I don't think there's much to say here. I think this is one where prowess just did prowess things and we're kind of helpless. But yeah, that concludes the video. Thanks for watching, and if y'all got any questions, hit me up at twitch.tv/BerkBerk. Also, join the Slivers Discord. Alright, peace, y'all. Where the hell was... Alright, stop recording.